Someone just told us our mic is mute. Hey, we got to start this again. Share the show. This is Taking the Journey Together. You saw us moving our mouth. Unless you knew how to read lips, you didn't know. I'm Imar.
I am Zare.
Yes, you're listening to the Taking the Journey show.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Man, we were on mute all that time.
I know.
Oh,
See,
our engineer slipped us on us. He slipped us a Mickey on purpose. He did. Okay, so
Okay.
you said we're gonna have a great show, or what?
Yes, we are. You were saying we got a halfway decent show. I'm like, no, it's not halfway decent. We got a good show.
Okay, so they need to
Yes,
share alike, right?
exactly.
Wow,
Share with
wow,
everybody you know, and continue to take this journey with us.
exactly. Hey, we had some time. We'll wait for a little bit while people are coming in. In fact, while we're waiting some time while people are coming in to listen to the show, because I know it takes them a little slow to finally get to us.
Hmm.
But what is our usual mission and our a vision um, that we're trying to do?
It's all rolled into one
Exactly. I think someone said it was more like a mission. I think it was.
motto or something. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah. Okay.
It really doesn't fit into any of those categories.
Okay.
But this is maybe it's our belief system. I don't
Okay.
know. Anyway,
Well.
put it into whatever category that you think it should fit into once we are done. But this is our belief. We are going to relate.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what your mother, father, sister, brother, anybody says, even what Jesus says, we are going to relate.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the journey together believes that we should relate in a balanced way.
A balanced way.
And when we say a balanced way, what we're talking about is where you have a relationship that you start off as friends,
Mm-hmm.
and you take that friendship and you build more onto that friendship until it becomes a lovership, and then it becomes a committed relationship along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And you decide that you're going to be in a committed long-term relationship, but you don't have to decide whether it's going to be with your friend or with your lover, because your friend and your lover is the same person.
Wow. Talk to me quick.
I did.
You did. Oh, wow. You said a mouthful right there. I'm telling you. Well, hopefully, those who are listening in right now, we're looking forward to have you listen for our last one. I promise you, this is the last one on commitment. Oh, it's the last one. We drilled so hard and more than one part one on commitment, because commitment is such a strong foundation that you have to and you should stand on when it comes to a long-term relationship. And we're basically saying you can't have true friendship. You can't have a true friend, unconditional friend, unless that friendship is based on committing to one
Yes.
another.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, to me, 5 parts is really nothing to talk over and over again
Yeah.
in different ways, in different angles, in different dimensions, in different expansions about friendship, or in this case, commitment in that
Yes.
relationship.
And
Because if you're planning to be together longer than 5 years, after the 5 year itch,
7 year itch.
7 year
But
itch,
5 years, so many people don't even make it to the
exactly,
7 year itch or the 5 year plateau.
exactly,
You know.
exactly.
Yes.
And that just tells me that that commitment thing was not something that they listened to during the
Yeah.
marriage time, or during the time that they may have did that thing when they were trying to live together. What's it called? Living together, cohabitating together, and it just went right out the door.
Right.
Commitment
Right.
went out the door. I mean, so
Right.
commitment can never be overemphasized in a
Right.
relationship, especially today where we live in a climate of polarizations.
Mhm.
Democrat against the Republic, black against white, short people against tall people, cats
Children
against
against
dogs.
parents.
Exactly. In relationships, like, if I can't do with you one day, I gotta go.
Yes.
So that lack of cohesiveness and togetherness is so strong
Oh yeah.
that I can understand you. I should say we just need to understand why commitment is so important for us to get it across to you, to make it part of your lifestyle. Even we struggle with commitment in
Yeah.
our relationship,
Mhm.
understanding the dynamics, the works that's involved with it,
Yeah.
and the need to find a balance. I think we were talking about it on the
The
radio,
radio program.
how we were talking about commitment. We'll probably hopefully get into it
Mhm.
as we're on the show now. If
Yeah.
not, then Oh well, but
Yeah,
you know
but
we're very spontaneous open, so
yeah,
who knows?
and if not, you can always go and check us out on
Oh yeah,
WRUU,
yeah. Let me put that up
um,
there. Hold on. Let's
and
see.
that way you can hear what
Oh
we
no,
did
that's
get
not there.
into,
Here it is.
even when we're talking about the same
There's
things, when we have
WRUU right there.
right WRUU.org,
Mm-hmm.
and you can hear our past shows. But even
You
as
can
I
hear the
was
one that
saying,
we just that we'll be doing
hmm
this Saturday on commitment.
Saturday at 9 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Go ahead.
and even though we're talking about the same topic,
Mm-hmm.
the way we present it and the things that we get into, because we are rather spontaneous with the way we do these shows, you get different things that are said that you can grasp onto. So we're talking about the same thing, but you may not get the same thing. Does that
Exactly.
make sense?
No, not really, but that's all right.
We're talking about commitment in both, but the way we deliver the message on
Exactly.
commitment is not scripted like that.
Well, no, we don't do scripted realities. I mean, anyway, I was referring to more like diamonds.
Yes.
And like a diamond, they have different facets to them.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of those facets, all the angles that are cut on the diamond,
Yeah.
has that diamond sparkle and shine
Yes.
in a
It's
different
brilliance.
way. Exactly.
Yes.
But yet it's still that diamond. Just like
Yeah.
in a relationship, we have
Mhm.
the sparkle and shine and how we deliver it. And so one way or the other, hopefully it will hit you, or it will in turn have something that you go, aha, you
Uh-huh.
vibe with or harmonize with.
Ah.
Or as I've always said, as old preachers say, you can put it in the deep freezer and one day you have to take it out and use it too at the same time.
Yes.
So we're talking about commitment again, we're going to make this the last time. Going to move on from there. There's so many more topics that we have that we want to talk about besides just commitment, just so important. How about the hot button? Don't we got a hot button someplace?
Oh, yes,
Where
we
is
do.
our
We have,
hot button?
well,
Oh my God, if
here's
we can get people to
one.
just do something with this hot button and take it with
Yeah.
them. Short. We're trying to get you to get that hot button, to get you bold
Hot.
enough to be able to take that button and put it on your lapel, your hat, your car, and be proud enough. You know, I think what we'll do next time is try to see if we can get that hot button as a sticker to put on your car.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about that? Yeah,
Yeah, a
hot
sticker
button,
to
a
go
sticker to
on
put
your
on your car,
car.
so
Oh,
people know
yeah.
in your relationship is
It's
hot.
hot. And
Yes.
so open, honest, open, and transparent.
Did
And
we leave that with your daughter since she loved that idea for coming up?
we did not have any.
Oh, what a shame.
You
We
know
need to
what?
send it to
I'm
her.
gonna send her one.
Yes.
I'm gonna send her two.
Two. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Send her two.
I'm gonna send her two.
And let her daughter know. Of course, you gotta let our daughter and your other ones to take a look at the show, because most of those folks under 30, 35, they think you guys are too old. You got nothing you can say to us or whatsoever. We are young. We know everything, and our relationships are working out right.
Perfect.
Exactly. After
Because we say so.
Exactly. And after they look at the other one, shut up, I'm trying to talk to you. Tell those kids to go, or like we saw at your daughter's place. And the husband was told, would you stop messing with those kids? Every night you say the same thing and they don't even do it. I'm like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's nothing new under the sun,
No,
dear.
it's like
When it comes to
how
human beings and how we have jealousy, hatreds, uncomfortableness. I can go on and on, joy and passion and love. There's nothing new under the sun. Yeah.
And how many times have we said something similar in our relationship?
Yeah, when we were younger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
What goes around comes around, but sometimes it's in another generation.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, for that end, taking a journey together has its own motto, its own vision. Am I right?
Yeah.
So do we want to talk about what it is?
I just did.
You did. What was it?
We're going to relate.
Okay. Friendship. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
I'm back to it again, friend.
Okay. We're going to relate. We start off as friends,
Mhm.
and the ideal is to build that friendship into a loving relationship,
Mhm.
which becomes a committed relationship as a lovership.
Mhm.
And then you get into that deep into that committed relationship, whether it's married,
Mhm.
cohabiting, or at any rate you have a decision that you decide that you're going to be committed to one another, and you do it in a balanced way because you are being committed with your lover and your friend.
You didn't have to spill all the beans like that from that end. It wasn't a test.
It-
I basically was saying it because a lot of the things that the young people feel.
It's stuck in my head. I can't help it.
Yeah, well, just express it in life. That's even better. It's just that a lot of young people, give the perception when it comes to older people. You guys never were friends anyway. You
Exactly.
didn't come across
Exactly.
as being friends.
And some
And
were
so,
not.
exactly, that was
Yeah.
an old school
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, we are all about friends. We know
Mhm.
what friendship really
Yeah.
is. And they really did try to move down that road. Of I'm not going to move down the road, do as you say, but not as you
Mhm.
really actually do,
Yeah.
which the old baby boomers were pretty much about for whatever
Mhm.
reason.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, friendship is important, but it's kind of like, well, you're right. I can understand that, but did you see it really practice in a committed relationship?
Mhm.
Did
Yeah.
you? Did you really see it, happen in your families
Right.
at all?
No.
Aunts,
Well,
uncles, whatever. No, you didn't. You
not
know nothing about it really
no,
from them. It's a
not
good concept, no doubt about it.
exactly.
But you've never seen
Yeah.
it really practiced. So many of them are
Yeah.
just practicing on their
Yeah.
own how they do
Yeah.
it.
I remember a couple from church. They grew up
Mhm.
with my mother and all. Um, Mr. Owsley and Miss Jane Lee,
Mhm.
and they had been married forever in 3 days.
Mhm.
And he grew orchids.
Oh, he did.
He had a greenhouse, a hothouse, whatever they call it,
Mhm.
and he grew orchids. And he
Okay.
would um, splice them together, do all kinds of things like that
Mhm.
with them. Okay, first of all, I never heard of a black man doing that before,
Mhm.
and so it was always fascinating to me. But long story
He's
short,
like the George Washington Carver of your time.
yeah, yeah,
Because George Washington Carver loved flowers.
yeah,
Remember that? He used to
yeah,
talk to him. He said they had a life of
yeah,
their own. Yeah.
yeah. Mr. Owsley would you know, at certain holidays and all, people would want orchids, and
Mhm.
but he had beautiful flowers, just beautiful.
Mhm.
And but his wife was, they were kind of like an old school couple,
Mhm.
where she never drove.
Mhm.
He drove all the time.
Mhm.
If you saw him, you saw her.
Mhm.
If you saw her, you saw him.
Mhm.
And they were just always together, and they
Mhm.
would laugh together and all.
Mhm.
And to me, that was
Mhm.
that the picture of what a relationship should be.
It was.
Yeah.
It was, and it still is, from that particular,
Mhm.
when you think about it.
Yeah.
Now you made me forget something. I was
I'm
gonna.
sorry.
No, that's all right. I was gonna present something in what you were saying and dealing with it, but if it's that important, it
It
will
will
come
come
back.
back.
Hopefully it will. So we're
Absolutely.
talking about commitment. Hopefully the last
It's the last
part.
part.
Okay. And then we'll
Yes.
move on to something else. So we talked about commitment. We based it off of the vows. The
Yes. For
vows,
better or for
yes.
worse, rich
Better
or for
or worse,
poor.
rich or poor,
Um,
sickness or health,
mhm.
to death do we may never part.
Yes.
Both shall live. Okay, so I just do the death again. Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Well, that's what it said.
Yeah. So it's a mindset,
Uh-huh.
attitude. Do you have that mindset, attitude? Are you willing to look at your relationship in such a way that says it can be remodeled? Because taking the
Right.
journey, when you think about it, is all about trying to remodel the mindset of a relationship,
Right.
and in such a way that it's about being able to expand it in a balanced and a healthy way,
Mhm.
right?
Right. And you don't want your relationship to get stagnant anyway.
It'd be
You
very
need to
easy,
constantly make changes
but
to it.
not in a drama way,
No,
right?
no, no, no. Not in a
Stagnant
drama.
means
It's,
I don't get up
stagnant
in the
means,
morning and throw
right.
a pan at you, and you go,
Yeah.
oh, how?
Yeah. Two
And I
places you
cuss
don't.
back at you and then throw a roller at you. Is that the kind of? I mean, that
No,
brings a lot
that's
of
not
good difference in
that
it.
brings a lot of change, but not the right kind of change.
Okay.
You don't want to be stagnant where everything is just right here and it's
Mhm.
okay. We're
Let's,
gonna have sausage and eggs for breakfast this morning. Okay, we're gonna have a bologna
mhm.
sandwich for lunch. Blah blah
And you
blah.
have did that before, but
I have not.
yeah. When I met you, you used to do the eggs and bologna and spinach.
I
We
know.
have it late at night. I'm like, this is a
No,
strange
no,
woman,
no. It was.
because that's
I
what
would
you like to
no.
eat.
When we would come in late,
I didn't say I didn't like it,
I would
but you
make
did. I thought
spinach
it was
omelets.
strange.
I would make spinach omelets
Mhm.
because they were light.
Yeah, I just still
And
thought it was strange. I just never had something like before. I didn't say I didn't like it.
yeah.
I just said it was pretty strange. What I was trying to say outside of that strangeness
Hmm.
is, remember we talked about before that sometimes people get influenced to think that thing that's exciting, something that's different, has to be drama like,
Yeah.
and that the passion of something different and something exciting doesn't have to be drama like at all, meaning something negative at all.
Hmm.
That something exciting, something that's different could be we both do kayaking
Exactly.
together, which you and
which
I
we have
did
done. Yeah.
in Hollywood Beach, Florida.
Was it Hollywood Beach?
Yeah, right outside Hollywood
Oh,
Beach, which we
okay.
like to
Yeah.
go to all the
Yeah.
time. We were
Yeah.
kayaking. We fought a lot, but we were
Yeah. It
kayaking
was, but
because
it
one
was,
had to
but
leave,
we
one had
still,
not leave.
but we still had fun.
Oh yeah, it was fun. It was
Yeah.
fun. It really was fun. We had to
Yeah.
go back and do that again. But I mean, those kinds
And it
of
was
exciting
kind of
things.
chilly that day too.
Was it chilly?
Yeah, the sun, because once we got out on the water, the sun. But that whole time that we were down there, it had been a little chilly, a little windy.
Really? I thought it was hot because we've been down
It
there
was
more
off
than once.
season. It was off
Oh,
season.
okay, okay.
Yeah, when we did that.
Yeah, yeah. So them are one of the, I mean, them are the many exciting things that you could do to
Yeah.
bring your adrenaline in, something different between
Yeah.
the two.
But if
or
you're not
challenge you to
friends, you
trust one
can't do
another.
that.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
if you're not friends, it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We're building our friendship then,
Mhm.
and that was the first time you and I have ever been in a kayak.
Yeah.
And this is a kayak with two people in it, not just one.
Exactly.
So there had to be some cooperation
Mhm.
in that.
Yes.
And sometimes my lack of patience
Oh,
don't work
yeah.
out well for
Not-
myself
no,
and
no.
anyone else, and you're a lot more patient than
Yeah.
I am. And so it was kind of hard.
I didn't take the oar and reach back and
I know
accidentally hit you with it or anything.
Well, no, you didn't paddle that oar
Well,
the
it's
right
not-
way, because
it's
when I
not-
went one way, you kept on going the other way,
It's-
and we went in circles
It's not
instead of
you-
going straight
you know,
ahead.
Exactly, but the problem is,
Mhm.
I was not the one that should have ever been
What?
leading that because of my shoulder. We forgot all about my shoulder.
Well, that wasn't even brought up at all. But maybe
I know.
next time we do
I
that.
know.
I think next time we just get a motorboat. and
Yeah,
let the
there you
motor-
go. Because what happened was at some point in
Mhm.
time, I couldn't move that rotation
Mhm.
like I needed
The
to,
rotor
and so
cuff, whatever.
it was slow in moving.
Mhm.
And it was not until later that I realized that's what the problem was. I thought I had just tensed up, but
Mhm.
no, it was that thing
Wow.
that shoulder was working
Hindsight
against me.
2020 vision,
Exactly.
years after we did it.
Years after.
But we
But it was
definitely-
still fine. But
yeah.
see, those
and remember the black guy who
was
who
showing
us
how to do it.
And remember, he said, "I don't remember any black couple to do this." Remember that?
Exactly, yeah.
He
He was
said, "I
like-
don't." He thought it was strange, but he thought at the same time it was pretty unique.
Yeah.
to see a
He
black
was like,
couple that
y'all
wanna
gonna
do
do
that.
this together?
I know it.
Yes.
That was funny. He surely did see that. From that end. So yeah.
Yeah,
So them are those times where you can do exciting things,
Mhm.
something different that you never did before
Yeah.
as a couple. And at the same time, it's not drama. It's something that's not negative. It's not going to be hurtful, and all that other stuff.
Right.
I think one of these times we need to try to do some skydiving. See if we both
That
do
would be
skydiving.
yeah. I would
and do tandem. I think they can do that.
Yeah,
if
what-
I jump at the same time
what
with somebody, because I ain't jumping
Yeah,
by myself
uh-uh.
with somebody.
what they
vice
what they
versa.
do is they strap you on with somebody else
Mhm.
and you go down at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would definitely do that.
Yeah,
I would
I'd
definitely
be
do
kind
that
of
with
afraid
you.
because heights. Ooh, heights still bother. Isn't that some heights bother me, but don't bother you?
Yes, they do.
You surely don't show that. The last time we've been on heightful things like
The-
those
the lighthouse?
lighthouses,
Yeah.
and I'm like going over the edge. I like, oh my god,
Well,
it really bothers me.
but-
But for you,
but
it's
you know
like,
why?
you're like, you don't pay
Because
attention.
there's a rail that you can hold on
Well,
to
you do a good
without
job.
holding on to
You
that
do a
rail.
good job acting like nothing messes with you at all. You're very good at pretending that nothing messes with you because you show no signs whatsoever.
Yet you can go up on top of the RV
I know you
and
wouldn't do
fix
that.
things on the
And
roof. There's no
and
way
I'll
I'm going
stand
up
up
there.
on the RV too.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. I don't
Yeah,
understand. that.
I can't do that.
It don't make no sense to
You
me.
know.
Hey, and also too, I think we're going to do some since we're staying this and we'll move a little bit. Commitment is I know we want to do some what is this? What is it? A paintball.
Paintball. Yeah.
Yeah, paintball. Is it called paintball?
It's something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was called.
Yeah,
It's a paintball gun and you shoot.
Yeah, I don't know
me and you wanna
exactly
try
what
that.
it's
We're supposed to
called,
do it on
but-
my birthday, which
yeah.
was on September 9th, folks out there. I want to say happy
It
birthday.
was
to
last
Timmy.
week. I think.
I'm now 25, so
Yes.
that's what someone said.
And doesn't he look good for 25?
Yeah, I just grew
Yes.
this beard because I've had it since I was 16.
Yes.
Actually, to tell you the truth, I've had a beard ever since I was 16.
Oh, wow.
When I was in high school, I had a beard, almost a full beard.
Well, you
They
know,
used to call me the old man of the school.
there's a lot
I'm
of them.
seriously.
There's a lot of them running around the high school with
I
with
bet you
beards and
too.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yep. I had a full beard then. I thought it was real hip and real cool. Now older's like,
it's still real hip and real
I know a
cool
lot of
and
people
looks
see
real
that. I know
good.
they like it, but
Yes.
anyway,
Uh-huh.
it is what it is. But
Yeah.
so we're talking about commitment. We're back to on commitment again, and we're based on the vows. And we got through saying, and we're taking the journey. It's remodeling your house,
Yeah.
expanding your house. And you got to plan it. You got to figure out the costs, anticipate it because it's going to be messy. There's more determination that's required than is expected,
Mhm.
and sometimes the only thing that keeps it going is what?
Hope.
Hope.
I
Yeah,
hope this
sometimes
gets better. I
exactly
hope you get some
because
sense.
yeah,
I hope,
because if not,
hope,
we're going to
hope.
end up killing one another.
Exactly. Exactly.
So good for Jesse Jackson.
Figuratively.
Keep hope alive.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's go through some of the what was the things we were talking about?
The signs of a committed
Signs. You
relationship.
want to know if your relationship is committed. You want to know if you really are in this for the long haul. Well, we're going to quickly go through because we're doing this the last time. What are the things that will tell you that your relationship is quit? Oh, excuse me, committed. I didn't mean that. That was a Freudian slip. Really, it was a Freudian slip, folks. So forgive me. Signs. Do you what? You go ahead.
You talk about your relationships, hopes and expectations.
Okay.
And and those are some of the things. When I think about the
Mhm.
amount of things that we have talked about
Mhm.
that have come to fruition since we've been together,
Mhm.
that really, really works. I mean,
Mhm.
years and years and years and years ago, when we were talking about, and I say that like it was 17,000 years ago,
Mhm.
but actually it was only about 12 years ago,
Mhm.
and we were talking about getting a bus or getting an RV. Start off talking about getting a bus and
Mhm.
taking the journey on the road and
Mhm.
going to different places.
Oh yeah, we
And
did talk about that.
and then we
Still would
talked
love to be able to do that, but go ahead.
right, and then we talked about getting an RV and
Mhm.
things, and that has happened because we never let that dream die.
Exactly.
It
Exactly.
just it continued to live.
And we're still trying to do another wow
Hmm.
to togetherness.
Yes.
No, not together. Was it
Wow,
out
date night.
date night
Hmm.
to get people to come out and
Yes.
date each other again and get a chance
Yeah.
to see us personally, and at the
Hmm.
same time we get a chance to see our listeners. And
Yeah.
what better way to reevaluate, to expand,
Right.
or we should call remodel
Right.
your relationship. On that note, I wanted to say give a shout out to Julia in Tybee. What's Julia's last name?
Julia Pierce.
Pierce and Tybee. She was invited us out to be part of that parade they had last weekend, right?
Hmm.
And she happened to be the marshal,
Grand Marshal.
Grand Marshal. And while we were there, we had a chance to meet Pat Gunn.
Yeah.
And Pat Gunn told us that she's been listening to our show. Thank you, Pat, for your listening to our show. She does the what does she do?
She does
That walk.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to do
Yes.
that walk
Oh,
too.
definitely.
Besides just our brother Jamal's
Hmm.
walk that he does. No, he does a drive, historical
Yes.
drive.
Yes.
But we want to do Pat Gunn's walk.
Mhm.
But she also said what I think is very important. And she says, "I watch your show. I hear you two go back and forth with one another. And what's good about it is I refer it to my young people." And that I know of. I think
Mhm.
she's talking about her relatives. And,
Yeah,
and
her
she
your
says,
kids, grandkids, something
exactly.
like that. Yeah.
She said they listen to it and they also love it too. And that was moving to me, for
Yeah,
me to
me
hear
too.
that because, we're also talking with another couple that's got thousands of people that listen to them on Facebook, but they mostly with those who are 35 and under.
Hmm.
And we've been talking with them to try to do some collaboration. And we said, hey, we got some older, wiser things that I think we can pass on to help out to young folks too,
Yeah.
especially since you really haven't had that experience as of yet in time to be at this age to relate to one another. And how much better because we're doing the second time around because it's a second relationship to try to do it right, good or bad to try to do it right.
The thing that got
Mhm.
me about what she said,
What's that?
she referred to things
So what
that
she
we
told
had-
me didn't mean much at all.
Yeah,
to you.
it did. But what
You
I'm
just
saying,
got me off so
I'm
quick.
sorry.
It didn't mean anything.
You're right. You know what? That was on me, and I do
I know. I'm
apologize
like, wow.
for that because it was. Yeah, I was taken so, but
Uh-huh.
I apologize. So go ahead.
So you didn't think that when she said young folks were listening to
Oh yeah,
how important it is
that was
that
very
young
important.
people,
I had
our
already,
next generation.
I'd already agreed with you
Oh,
on
okay.
that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what was yours? I'm sorry.
The other thing, was when she was saying, you
Mhm,
know, that how much she likes it and everything.
mhm.
She referred to things that she had actually heard.
Oh, well, she didn't say that to me.
Yes, she did.
Were you there? No, I was
I was
there
there.
by her. I don't remember you being next to me
Yeah,
when she said
yeah.
that because I first
That's
went
when
to
you
her
walk. I
first.
know, but that's when you walk back up after I was over there.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah.
Then she said she must have talked again the second time around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah. And so that meant a lot
Hmm.
when somebody can say, "I listened to your show, and I liked when you said this, this, or
Yeah, some of
this."
the elements that we
Yeah,
brought up.
that
Yeah.
that really it means a lot.
You know what we should did? We should have tested her and see if she knew what hot meant. But we hope to get her one time on our show, to have her maybe talk about relationships that she knew of old. I remember one of the things she told me. She said, "I like you two, how you two go back with one another."
Hmm.
And it reminds me of one of my older uncles. I think she said it was an uncle.
Hmm.
They were married for over 40 or 50 some years. And she said one time, her uncle said to his wife, man, if you don't do this, or not, no, not if you do this, she said something to do, if it wasn't something, 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 I would trade you in for somebody else. I'm like, wow, she told me that. But I think what she was trying to say is, and their openness as
Yeah,
friends.
they had that
To,
ability to bicker with one
yeah.
another and keep it in perspective.
Well, I think that's no doubt about it. But
Hmm.
I think the most important thing, and I think you agree with me too, is because the first thing I spit out to her, it sounded like they must have been really truly friends. She
Yeah,
goes, yeah,
yeah,
that was one thing
exactly.
I liked about being around them, is they showed themselves as being true friends. I
Hmm.
think only a real friend in a relationship could tell that other person after 50 years, I
Yeah,
could trade you in
yeah.
and laugh about it, and in turn not, cause a trauma, cause a burden,
Hmm.
cause
A
any
big argument.
big argument over it,
Yeah.
from that end. And he was comfortable enough to be transparent like that, and
Hmm.
vice versa. So
Yeah,
that really was kind of moving to me to hear that
yeah.
from that end. That this been done before. It's not like this is the first time that relationships are trying to use friendship in it,
Hmm.
and to hear that it's been done before by that particular, excuse me, for someone that's been together for 50 years.
Yeah,
It can hold up. It can really hold up
exactly.
and
And
stand the test of time.
right, right.
Yeah,
And
but
think,
commitment had to be there.
oh yeah, it definitely had
Commitment
to
had to
be.
be there. No
It
doubt
had to
about it.
be.
Making plans for the future.
We've done that.
We both put in effort. Still
Yes.
doing a lot of that,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Spend a large amount of time together. Boy, do we ever.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Sometimes good, sometimes bad.
Hmm.
The RV makes it so that we spend a lot of small time together, even though it's a pretty big house on bus on wheels.
Yeah.
From then, but that's important. You, of course, like to many times be a little bit more introvert, having time just for yourself,
Hmm. Yeah.
because you're a reader, and a writer, and plus you've already told me you kind of grew up in a world where your imagination was in books,
Yeah.
where I may have been, but mine wasn't in fantasy. Mine was more in what?
You did more nonfiction.
Yeah,
Where
nonfiction.
I read a lot of fiction.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So my fiction and books, I was reading a lot. Malcolm X, Eldridge Cleaver, those kind of books like that. They were out about things that you're going out to do something, to be something,
Yeah.
and
And
yada
you know
yada
what?
yada.
And when I was growing up, their books were not available
Mm.
to me.
Oh, really? What kind of school was that wouldn't avail you those books?
Well,
I didn't get them from school. Be honest with
yeah,
you.
well, you couldn't get them from school. You would
Mhm.
have to go to a library. But I was also at a library
Mm-hmm.
in the South. But then I was growing up at a time that was real close to their deaths.
Mm.
So they hadn't been elevated to the standpoint of their words were good
Mhm.
enough to, or were worldwide enough. These were black men.
Mhm.
So, to put them on a pedestal to say that they had something good to say when they had just recently been killed, it was not something that you would find where I was growing up.
Well, I know it. One of the things that my uncle did, being one of the first black electrician in the town, and me being forced, excuse me, to work with him when I was young, is he would take us to a lot of the black businesses. And one of the black businesses he would take us to, besides getting a haircut and things like that, he would take me to a black bookstore.
Hmm.
And in that black particular bookstore, I basically read the books.
Yeah.
Books that I think didn't exist, because even though mom took us to the library, there were books at the black bookstore. As you already know,
Yeah.
you open them up, I don't see a copyright to the what is it? United States Copyright
Yeah,
Library. I'm
it's
like,
not.
how is this a book?
There's no Penguin Press here.
How can it? There's no ISBN. What's that number?
The ISBN. And we
I'm
didn't
like,
even.
I'm like, how does that?
Yeah, we
How
didn't
does this
even know
book
what they were
exist?
back then.
And worse than that was, can they be credible?
Right.
My little
Right.
mind was thinking they'd be credible, and my uncle was like, no, these are books to be read. Books
Yeah.
were written. You can read them, and you can understand them.
Mhm.
And so forget all that other nonsense that was
Yeah.
in your head. And so there's many times I enjoyed myself in the black bookstores, and
Oh, I
read
love
some of
black
the books.
bookstores.
Oh,
and,
exactly. Some of the things that aliens, seriously, things on
Yeah.
sexuality.
Yeah.
The first things I read about the myth of Jesus Christ in the church and all that other concepts that were attached to other historical things that actually were happened
Mhm.
by great scholars
Yeah.
that it existed back then and are still existing then, who were giving that alternative view about things.
Right,
It was
right.
really moving. I used
So
to
that
enjoy
it was
myself.
not just one dimensional.
Exactly.
And that to me is very important too. And that's one of the things that I try to instill in my students, because I tried to instill that in my children. Read to think. Read to form an opinion, not just necessarily follow along, but read enough so that you have, some good pieces of information that you can pull together to form your own opinion.
Yeah, it definitely helped me to become an independent thinker from that end.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't see, and I looked through a lot of it, I didn't see much books on relationships. Black folk relationship. There wasn't much on it.
There's no books on relationships.
Not much.
You just fall into it, and you just know that you get a certain age, you're supposed to be looking for somebody to marry.
That. There would be books all on, knowing the black woman and the details of how to understand a black woman. And of course, I picked it up because I want to try to understand. And then they have books on trying to understand a black man, but there wasn't much on the relationship between working together and about them together. I didn't see many books the many times I was in there on that whatsoever from that end.
And as I got older and going into the self-help section, there was not a lot of relationship self-help.
Yeah.
It was just did not happen.
Exactly. I think it's what you said. You just kind of make it on your own.
Exactly.
What the old saying is, you can't help who you fall in love.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what you said.
I know.
I fell in love with that chair and I love it. No.
I have fallen.
I sit in it every day. And, it feels good. No,
I have fallen in love with an outfit.
Oh, okay.
And I made it. So, it's like, it was too expensive. So I did it myself.
I think we made our point.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you spend a lot of time with that other person, right?
Yes.
You show what the next time?
Mutual
respect.
Yes.
What would mutual respect mean? What does mutual respect mean?
I have an idea, and you listen to it and you accept that idea. You have an idea, I listen to it and I accept it. They may be not on the same page when they come out, but at least I respect the fact that you have an idea and that some of your ideas are good. Some of them can maybe mesh with mine and vice versa.
Yeah.
So we both have an affinity.
So you're not always trying to think for me. I'm not always trying to think for you, but you also are trying to think what I'm thinking as much as I'm trying to think what you're thinking.
Right.
Which is part of being empathetic to one another.
And we don't have the idea that my views are the views.
I would hope not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can't do that if you're doing mutual respect.
Well, one thing is for sure, you can do that if in turn you're trying to think for someone and that thought is not their thoughts, because you're not trying to in turn think what they're thinking.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No,
whatsoever.
not at all. And that wouldn't bring mutuality either.
No. I think one of the things that we're looking at when it comes to that mutuality commitment isn't all about promises. It's about showing respect to one another.
Yes.
So I think you were trying to get to that sometimes, even if I'm thinking what you're thinking, especially from an empathetic point of view, not trying to be toxic, that thought that I'm thinking that has to do with you, I call it your love language. You're going to hopefully, out of respect, try to see if you can express it in a way that has me feel comfortable with it, because it's my love language, not expressed in the way what you want it
exactly.
to. That's where that mutual respect is. Because a lot of us love, think we love, think we know how to love,
Mhm.
and at the end we might think we're supreme in being
Yes.
lovers or lovers.
Superior love.
Exactly. I know what you need when it comes to love.
Yeah.
But yet that may not be their love
Right.
language at all.
Exactly.
And that
Exactly.
mutual respect is I'm going to respect the way that you want to be loved.
Mhm.
And in turn express myself or
Yeah.
do that thing in
Mhm.
that way, which
Right.
is that showing that love. You
I
understand that?
definitely understand.
I think that's very important. And of
Mhm.
course, you're going to always say, "Well, if it's not the way I feel comfortable that I've been doing for years for my other, father, mother, or my other, prior lover, whatever it may be," well, then you have to be able to respect that other person.
Right.
You respect how they want to be loved.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, respect doesn't mean we're always going to swap spit. That's what a Marine guy said to me one time. I used to work on his machine. He was terrible as can be. He used to tell me, "Mr. Butts, you don't have to like me totally because we're not going to always have to swap spit." Even though in a relationship, if you're kissing, you're going to do.
You're gonna definitely swap some spit.
But I think you get the point. Respect means I love you enough that even though it's not something I'm comfortable with from the standpoint of
Mhm.
how I think I should love you,
Right.
but at least I respect you enough because this is how you feel and think you should be loved.
Right.
That's that empathy part.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's part of that commitment. You're loyal and exclusive to one another. You're loyal and exclusive to one another. Think about that.
Yeah. If that really goes with a monogamous relationship,
A
the
monogamous.
concept of a monogamous
Mm-hmm.
relationship, it definitely goes with that.
Do you think black men can be in a monogamous relationship?
I do.
You do.
I do.
Do you think that the thing out there that is on the street is that they naturally are not made to be in monogamous relationship, that they really naturally have been made to be in more than one relationship? And so an open relationship or a poly relationship is more important for them to be involved with. And most of the open and poly is that if it's done in the way that it should be, ideally, then that person is going to be open, honest, and transparent in his relationship and connection to another. Words. I guess what I've seen is that it's inherent in a man, especially they try to say black men, has the ability to love more than one woman.
I disagree with that. I think some men do, but I don't think we can lump all black men into the same pool and stir it up and they all come out the same.
I would agree with you very
Yeah.
strongly because my daddy didn't.
Yeah. Yep. And he's not the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some men like to just spread it around on the slide rather than being right up front with it. If you are if you are loyal to someone and you are a man or a woman who is interested in, a poly relationship or some relationship that is not exclusive, you need to be upfront about it, and maybe you can come
not
to
customary in your
exactly.
community, or customary like
Right.
in this country. Yeah.
Right. So that you can come to an agreement as to where your commitment level is. Both
What
of
can you commit to both? Or
exactly.
what you can.
Exactly. And that's going back to the one we were talking about a minute ago, the respect.
Yes.
If you do this behind somebody's back or on the sly or, behind closed doors or whatever cliche you want to use, you're not respecting your partner. Because you have made a commitment to be in one kind of a relationship and you've shut one eye and left the other one open to get away with something else that's not a part of the commitment, yet you expect your partner, and I'm saying partner because it can happen on the male or the female side, you expect your partner to go along with it just because you changed the plans.
It didn't. And isn't that one of the kind of the thing that was kind of controversial with Will Smith and his wife? Because for years they said they had an open relationship, and that he had a relationship sometimes with some of the actresses. Did I say that right? Actresses.
Yeah.
And many of the movies he did.
Yeah.
And even though his wife Jada had one, maybe she had more than one, I don't know, with some guy named Future or something like that. Why would he be upset? Why should he be mad over it from them when they basically said they had an open relationship?
Yeah. I really didn't get into the ins and outs of that. I heard something vaguely about something was going on, and I'm like, if you're going to be open, honest, and transparent with the world, you need to be open, honest, and transparent with each other first.
Mm-hmm.
And so, maybe there was something that could be learned from that. And I say maybe because of what I just said, I didn't get into it. I didn't really, read or follow or listen to it or whatever.
But that smack that was heard around the world was
that little love tap.
yeah, well, and like I said, I think it was fake. And of course, you said in other, as you said before, that it was really over him trying to defend her honor, dealing with that hair. What does she have?
She has alopecia.
Yes, and that he was like, take your
keep my wife's name out your mouth.
From that end,
which was kind of funny in itself because it sounded like playground talk. But,
yeah, it did. I don't think it was real. Anyway, anybody out there that think that was real, hey, you can go ahead and chime in if you want to, and keep that together. But I just always looked at how the angle with the camera was. It's the same way that they do those fights in the movie.
I'm gonna come this close to have.
Sometimes if the angle, they can be a long way away, but if you angle it from behind, you don't see the depth whatsoever between the two, unless you have a camera that's in between the two, facing the sides with one another, and then they can see if you're getting hit or not. And excuse me, I talked away from the phone, so you can barely hear me. Anyway, from the side, and then you can see, but you couldn't. Every time you looked at that particular shot, it always from the camera going behind. Will Smith and what's his name, Chris Rock in front. You never got to see the camera from the side. And they had enough cameras in them for them to be able to see it.
But the funny thing about that to me was the fact that they put the camera on him as soon as he stood up, and this man had to walk a mile to do that slap. I mean, at what point in that walk does your anger dissipate? Because because you're going so far. I mean, did he get about halfway and go, what am I upset about again? Because that was a long walk. It wasn't like he was just, here's the table, here he is, and he can just stand up and pow, and there it goes. No, he had like a minute to think about that.
He was walking the runway so everybody can see his suit and his shoes before he delivered. That's why I said I don't think it was real. I really don't. Okay, so you know how to support each other. You know how to support each other. Sometimes we don't get involved with our mate in detail enough where we know how to support that mate. That mate may have people at their job, they may have their family, they have their friends that support them in all the little things or big things they want in life, and you know nothing about how to support that mate. I mean, you're pretty much operating where I'm doing my own thing, got my friends, got my own support network, you got your own support network, and that's how we're getting along. That's not commitment.
No,
that's not a long-term
it
commitment.
isn't.
No,
it is.
You're going to cry. I didn't say that you shouldn't. But one thing is for sure, you're going to cross into each other's world. So each other knows each other's friends and family and so on and so forth, one way or the other. Now, if they don't want to know each other, that's a problem. No doubt about it. But you would hope.
But if you're I'm sorry, I just cut you off.
No, go ahead. Because I think what you're going to say has got to be vital.
But if you're in that kind of relationship.
Okay, it's not. So be correct. No, I'm just. I just couldn't help that. I don't know why I'm bad. I'm bad.
Naughty.
Okay, so what?
When you're in that kind of relationship where both people are living two different kinds of lifestyle work-wise, one is in this work field and one is in this work field, you got to explain what your day is like to one another. You got to come together over dinner or, as you're playing footsie in bed or whatever, and talk about your days so that you do have some kind of mutuality and understanding as to what each other's day is like.
Well, you should. Doesn't necessarily.
That's what I said. You should.
Yeah.
You need to.
I think supporting to me is just another word of sharing.
Yeah.
And
being there for them.
Yeah. And some people in a relationship, it's not about sharing with one another.
Yeah.
Sometimes they compartmentalize. It's what they're going to share.
Yeah.
Deep dark things I ain't sharing with you.
Right.
Certain foods I ain't sharing with you.
Yeah.
My car I ain't sharing with you.
Yeah.
My other friend I ain't
I,
sharing with you.
yeah, I pay the notes on this car.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
the idea of sharing a
Mhm.
relationship, we don't do.
Right.
But if you're, truly in a commitment relationship, especially off the vows,
Mm-hmm.
commitment
Yeah.
says, yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
share. I'm sharing my life,
Yeah. What's
good
yours
and
is mine.
bad.
What's mine is yours.
Exactly.
Right.
So therefore, at the end, it's ours.
Mm-hmm.
From
Yeah.
that end. So
Yeah.
sharing is
Yeah.
definitely, you're going to try to support each other.
Yeah. You have to take
Why
that
would you
friend,
not?
take that friendship and lovership and grow it into an us-ship.
Exactly. Okay. You trust one another. Yep.
Yes.
You trust one another. Well, I tell you, healthy is the need for what? Trust. Spend every second of the day. Do we already mention trust each other? Go out of your own way, your own thing, without ramifications. But okay. Give each other some space sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because some people look at that trust means I'm always connected to someone from what?
The hip.
From a hip.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
what I am.
Yeah.
Does that really mean that?
Yeah.
It does mean that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I don't think so.
Uh-oh.
Let's see.
Look at
Trust each other to go out and do your own thing. Yeah, you're not that way. If I go someplace, it's like, okay, see you when you get back, type of thing.
I
But
think
most of the time we go places together just because.
it was a, what do you call those questions? Pejorative? What the hell you call them?
Rhetorical.
Yeah, I really wasn't pointing to you. It was
I
just
know.
for everybody else to listen to.
I know.
Because usually the ramification, especially in our culture when it comes to this, called them clingy, is this person is always trying to connect to you, being possessive.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Why don't you talk to me? Why don't you walk with me?
It could be
Why
vice.
don't you?
It could be vice
You know,
versa. It
yeah.
could be a woman doing to
no,
a man,
I'm saying it
or a man
goes
to a
both ways.
woman.
Those are just general questions that were out there.
Exactly.
You know. Yeah.
And
Why don't we go to the store together? You know.
then you have the other side, which is, I don't know why I should.
Yeah.
I don't know why I must.
Yeah.
I don't really know why I can or have
Right.
to. And so you got what? Both ends of this spectrum.
Yeah.
Both extremes that are out there.
Yeah. You got to find that happy medium.
Exactly. That's where the balance is.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely know in a committed relationship, as we're already talking about, good or bad, happy or sad about sharing, you definitely have to say, I need to be about what? Trusting each other,
Yeah.
connecting to one another, making plans together.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to have those things. That's part of sharing.
Yeah.
You can't actually think that if I don't spend time, connect, make plans together, that for some reason I'm really showing that I'm sharing myself with that other person.
Right.
Really?
Right.
How's that?
If
That's the extreme side.
Exactly.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
No, excuse me. That's not the extreme side. That's the extreme side if in turn you think you don't have to do that whatsoever, but somehow.
Why was I following you on that one? I knew exactly what you were talking about.
I was thinking about, I knew a guy who was a city manager in the city. I won't mention, knew him personally. His wife, he lived in the other part of the country, East Coast. She lived in California. And we were discussing this one night. How were they keeping the relationship together when physically they were long-term? She owned a house, or their house in Cali, and he owned a house that I guess she also owned too. And they were way on the East Coast as a city manager. And both of them were in these big top kind of career jobs, making over 6 figures. I said, man, how are you two staying together when both of you two are pretty much physically not even connected whatsoever from that end? I'm going to ask you, what do you think they said? Since we're talking about commitment, since we're talking about sharing with one another, we're talking about time too, and trust, because those two elements had to be definitely on the line more than once in the relationship. If you don't think that was, then you don't know relationships, especially in that situation. What do you think he said?
They talk to each other all the time. They get together and do things together, go vacations or meet halfway or visit each other. And I'm just.
Well, you're absolutely correct. I'm outside of talking because there was no camera thing back then. There was no Zoom anything back then. Around with you. There was a phone you could do.
Right.
They did a lot of phone conversation together. But when they had time, and when they made time, because they did a lot, they would make sure that they always met with one another
Mhm.
in one of the homes.
Yeah.
And when they did, that time was not only quality time, but at the same time, it was quantity time.
Yeah.
It was both.
Yeah.
So when they went there and they came together, there was no like, oh, you've been in this house all this time. I can
Mhm.
act like I can know you.
Yeah.
No, they were dead in. In fact, you might also say some people say they were clingy with one another.
But in those circumstances,
Mhm.
they needed to be clingy
Yeah,
with one
yeah,
another
yeah.
because they needed to solidify the relationship that they had. That they needed to solidify that distance.
Exactly. And he said they've been married over 10, 12 some years doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how many people could be in a relationship like that over 10, 12 some years, long distance like that.
Because they have the same vision and they're committed to making it work.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I like the
That's
last
the-
word. It took work.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. It took some serious work
Yeah.
to be able to do that. Had a lot of respect for him. We had a lot of good conversations
Mm-hmm.
as he was the first black city manager in this particular city.
Yeah.
That he was in. So yeah, a lot of respect for him. So you want to make vacation plans? That's the hint here.
Yeah.
Make you some vacation plans.
Yep.
Some relationships haven't made no vacation plans
I
with
know.
each other at all.
No.
Not even a short weekend vacation plan when you go to the motel. No. Okay. Holiday Inn. Well, anyway, down the street and just stay there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Together.
Yeah.
Just stay there together.
And
You don't have to go out of town.
They make excuses. What about the kids?
Mhm.
And I got this to do and this and that. No, you just have to put all that aside. Get a babysitter.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a babysitter. Just do that.
So
Do it once
as-
a month, twice a month. Just do it.
Yep. As we're running out of
But
time
we're getting
here,
there. We're getting there. Getting there. Come on.
um,
Introduce what?
introduce each other to important people in your lives.
That's right. Don't act like sometimes you have did as a teacher and those kids come up. Hey, Miss Buzz. Hey, Miss Buzz. Hey, Miss Buzz. You did so much of me. I'm standing right beside you. I must
Okay.
be chopped liver.
Okay.
And you and that little kid don't say, and the parents too at the same time don't even say nothing to me. I'm like, oh wow, I feel embarrassed.
Okay. Let me give you some information
Okay.
there.
What? Yeah, maybe said it
9
before. Go
times out of 10, they have come back. I haven't seen them in a year
ahead.
or two,
Mhm,
and I see 90 kids every
Mhm.
semester.
mhm.
A new set of 90 kids. Half the time, I don't remember that child,
Oh, okay.
so I don't have a name.
Well, you don't have to go in
introduce you to.
detail, but once in a while you can
Well,
say
every now and
something.
then I'll say, "This is my
I
husband,"
know.
but most of the time it's like, "Okay, can we move on?"
Yeah,
I've-
I'm just telling you. I feel
I know.
embarrassed.
I know,
sometimes when
and
it
you
happens.
brought that to my attention, and from
Mhm,
that point on, I
mhm.
tried to make sure I acknowledge you.
It's like being with a superstar
Yeah,
because they do
right.
act like it too. I mean, seriously, I like look at that snotty little nose kid. Or sometimes they're older. Remember that young man who is becoming a police officer or something like that? He said,
Yeah.
it wasn't for you, Miss Butts, and the things that you said to me. I would not be. This is a young African American male, so I like. I can't be upset. I can't really be jealous because that's something that in turn I would want every young black male, especially not necessarily become a police officer, but something that would be better than what the stereotypes that are out there
Yeah,
for him.
yeah.
And then openly say that in front of the public
Yeah.
and feel comfortable with that too at the same time. So it was outstanding. I just would like to you said, and that guy over there,
well, I did.
that's a little bit. Do you remember the first time it was with this young guy? He acted
Yeah.
like he's a little thug.
Yeah.
He ain't even in a thug neighborhood, but he acted like a little thug. He looked at you and then looked at me like he thought that I was your man on the side.
Yeah.
And he needed to protect you from me being your man on the side. You remember that? I'm
I
like,
do.
man, you little kid, man, I'd like to smack you, little boy. But that was funny as could be. Okay, so you did your introduction. The last one is share memories and secrets.
Yes,
Very, very important to share memories.
because
and
that's how you
secrets.
grow together.
Yeah. How we do that, being open and talking about things that bother you, problems in life and secrets that you want to share. Yeah, that's right. That's one of the hardest things we do
Mhm.
is not want to show those
secrets.
those dark things, right?
Yes,
They're too dark. We don't want to say anything about it.
yes.
Yeah, we just want to let it go by and keep it as part of that baggage. And one time that baggage pops out
Yeah.
in the relationship, and I'm like, oh shoot, that was what my other past boyfriend
Mhm.
or past husband did, and and now I'm passing it on to you. No, we got to share our
Yeah.
secrets. Don't get that idea that we shouldn't share our secrets. We need to share every one of them with one another, with only the hopes to try to bring healing and bring
Exactly.
total togetherness, because it's part of being hot. That
Yeah.
last T called being transparent,
Yeah.
and not use manipulation in your relationship.
Right. And healing is ongoing.
It is.
As you,
Oh,
as you
wow.
brought to my attention
Wow, I
today,
forgot about that.
healing is ongoing.
Healing is a journey that never ends in our relationships. We are never fully healed. You never level your new level of existence requires a new level of healing. As we ascend, more healing is required.
Yeah.
Got to remember that. Got to remember
Absolutely.
that. Well, Mr. Engineer, if you're there, we're ready to end our show. This is the end of Commitment Part 5. Hopefully you got something out of it as we did. And until next time, we'll see you next time.
And we'll have a new topic.
Yep. Is he there? Or do we have
Like this. 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 Like this.